Hi, in this part of the session, we will look at AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification real exam questions. Please keep in mind whatever is getting covered here are real exam questions. There is an extremely high probability that you would get same questions or similar questions in the exam. The way I would cover these questions are I would show the question and display the answers. I'll give explanation for each answers and then I would mark which is the correct one. Please focus on how we are arriving at the correct answer. The explanations are the key. In some places you can get these some of these questions, but a lot of answers are wrong. So my video will give you correct answers. I myself have cleared this exam with excellent marks. So you can trust the explanations and answers given in this video. Let's look at who is the owner of Amazon. He is Jeff Bezos. He is the founder of Amazon. AWS is an Amazon product. So just so that if somebody doesn't know him, I think everybody knows that Jeff Bezos is the CEO of Amazon and AWS is an Amazon product. I would upload multiple parts of such sessions, probably 10 to 12 videos. If you are newcomer to the cloud environment and you want to make a career in cloud, or if you are just a college graduate who has passed out and are looking to get certified on cloud, you may enroll in some courses. But even if you don't do that, and if you just go through my videos, I have given a very detailed explanation of each and every options that I have. These are real exam questions. So if you go through my videos, you should be in a very good state to clear the exam. Now let's look at a few questions. So in this part of the video, we will look at approximately 8 to 10 questions and their detailed justification for the answers. So here goes the question. It says, which AWS services should be used for read write of constantly changing data? So you have to choose two options out of these five. So what is the key here? Key is read and write constantly changing data. So we have choices like Amazon Glacier, RDS, Snowball, Redshift, and EFS. So in this case, Glacier. Let's look at Glacier. What is Glacier used for? Let's look at uh, the S3 storage class. Okay, so here this is the S3 storage class and here is Glacier. Okay, if you click here Glacier, here's Glacier. So just as a general practice, I would suggest always go through the Amazon documentation, which is free. So as you can see, this is used for data archiving. Okay, so here if you see, this is used for data archiving, and people archive data because they don't want to access it very frequently. Hence this cannot be used for fast changing data. So option A is incorrect. Option B, RDS. This looks to be correct because RDS is a service which is used for OLTP transactions. That's the difference between RDS and Redshift. Redshift is used for OLAP style analytical processing. So Redshift is usually used for data that is not changing constantly, and RDS is used for data which is changing constantly because you have a website which is plugged to your RDS database, and the data is keeps on changing. It frequent changes. But once data goes to Redshift, once the transformation and everything happens and data lands in Redshift, it is primarily for analytical purposes. The data doesn't change frequently. So one option can be option B. This looks to be correct. Now let's look at the AWS Snowball. So this is a Snowball. Okay. So AWS has a Snowball Edge, and Snowmobile. Snowmobile is a truck which comes in your campus, connects to the network, and copies the data. Snowball is just like a small device. It only has storage, but if you use Snowball Edge, it has storage and compute. So Snowball is used to move data from one place to the other. So it cannot be used for fast changing data because in order to get Snowball ordered from AWS and reach your campus, etc., it takes 1 week at least. So this cannot be used for fast changing data. So this option is incorrect, Snowball. And Amazon EFS is just like your file system. You have multiple users accessing the same file, and they keep on writing the file. So it is used for read write both, and constantly changing data as well. So the correct answers are options B and E, Amazon RDS and EFS. Now, before I move to the next question, I want to just clarify. I mean, to get certified, what is it that you need? This is very important. If you're trying to get certified, you should have strong motivation to clear the exam, to study. You should have curiosity to use search engines for knowledge. Like I am using search engine and showing you various documentation of AWS. You should also do that. You should allocate at least 20 to 30 hours of study depending upon where you are from a maturity perspective on the cloud side. If you already know various concepts of cloud, then probably it may take 20 hours or less. If you are a newcomer, a fresh graduate, or making a fresh start from other technology, then you should keep close to 30 hours aside. You should definitely plan for 6 hours of revision before the exam day, because it's all about retaining the in your memory. So as long as things are in your memory, you would be able to do good in your exam day. That's how I also appeared. And you should have an appetite to solve problems. So problem solving is a key skill in the questions. If you see, the questions are very much linked to real time problems. They just test your knowledge. So if you have to understand for which problem what AWS service will fit in well, this is the only requirement of this exam. Most of the questions are around to test your knowledge around whether you understand the AWS product or not. What is one of the advantages of RDS? So RDS, like I told, it is used for online transaction processing. Your websites are there. It is connected to RDS. It writes to RDS. So what is the advantage? One of the advantage of using RDS. So instead of RDS, what can you do? If you don't want to use RDS, what will you do? You can, as part of RDS, like MySQL database, you can install MySQL directly on your EC2 instance and manage the instance yourself. You can do that. But what if you go and directly use the RDS service? What advantage you get is, the first option says it simplifies relational database administration tasks. Yes, your lot of administration tasks, patching, taking backups, etc. is all eliminated. You have to do very little there. So this looks to be the right option. Let's look at other options. It provides 9 probably percent of reliability, durability. This is a S3 property. This is not very much true for RDS, so this cannot be an answer. She says it automatically scales databases for loads. This is a Aurora property. If you use Amazon Aurora, it automatically does the auto scaling, or if you use DynamoDB, it does auto scaling. So this cannot be an option. D says it enabled users to dynamically adjust CPU and RAM resources. No, you will have to do it. You cannot do a dynamic adjustments. You will yourself have to configure it. So A looks to be the right answer. Now let's look at this one. A customer needs to run a MySQL database that easily scales. Which AWS service you produce? So the key is MySQL database. Let's look at the options. Aurora can be a good fit. So we'll park this. It seems to be right answer. Let's look at other options. Amazon Redshift. This is used for OLAP style analytical processing. Whenever you think of data warehouse, building a data warehouse, think of Redshift. So MySQL is never used for building a data warehouse. It is used for online transaction processing or building your ODS layer, not data warehouse layer. So MySQL will not fit the Redshift. So B cannot be the answer. C, DynamoDB. This is used for NoSQL. This is a NoSQL database, whereas MySQL is a SQL based database. So this cannot be an option. And Elastic Cache is a different service altogether, used for efficient search. So in this case, the right answer is option A is the right answer. Let's look at another one. Which of the following components of AWS infrastructure consists of one or more discrete data centers interconnected through low latency links? Whenever we talk about data centers interconnected with low latency links, it is talking about AZ, availability zone. But let's look at other options. What's the edge location? Edge location is something, if you have a business user and you want to process the data near to that user, then edge location is used. But the edge location is not a set of data centers which is connected to low latency. So B cannot be an option. C is a region. A region comprises of multiple AZs. A AZ comprises of multiple data centers. So region cannot be an option. And private networking is totally different. You can create your own private network using VPN and VPC. So this is not linked to this low latency network. So the right answer in this case is option A, availability zone. So let's look at this one. Which of the following is a shared control between customer and AWS? That means which of these from the following list, which one a customer and AWS will be doing in a shared manner. So option A says providing a key for S3 client-side encryption. This will be done by the customer alone. Configuration of EC2 instance. This will be done by customer alone. Environment controls of physical data centers. This will be done by AWS alone, because you will not have access to their physical data centers. So customers cannot do that. And D says awareness and training. This is something which both customer and AWS has to do, because you have to make your end users aware of it, and AWS also makes its users aware of it. They have training programs and etc. for the same. So the right option is D. This one states how many AZs should compute resources be provisioned across to achieve high availability. So the key here is high availability. Whenever you have high availability, that means you need a minimum of 2 AZ. Okay, so in this case the answer should be minimum of 2. Nowadays there are a lot of AZs that are being launched with minimum of 3 AZs. A lot of regions with minimum 3 AZs, but two is minimum, because there are a lot of centers in Africa, India, etc., where 2 is minimum. Now, a fun fact: total AWS has 77 availability zones, which spans across 24 geographic regions, and they are planning to put 18 more AZs in 6 more regions in Australia, India, Spain, Japan, Switzerland. This is just a fun fact. Let's look at this one. One of the advantages to moving infrastructure from on-premises to data center, on-premises to AWS cloud is, so when you're moving your applications and data from your on-premises to cloud, what is the advantage you get? First, it allows the business to eliminate IT bills. No, the IT bills are not eliminated but are reduced, because you are going on a majoritarily pay as you go option, instead of, so your capex cost is very low in cloud and opex cost is running. So you cannot eliminate your IT bills. OPEX is still there. It allows the business to put a server in each customer's data center. When you move to cloud, there is no provisioning of data center in the customer's premises. So this answer is totally wrong. C says it allows the business to focus on business activities. Perfectly right. Because what AWS wants is you don't worry about provisioning, you don't worry about elasticity of the hardware resources. AWS does it all. You only focus on business activities. This looks to be the right answer, but still let's look at D. It allows the business to leave servers unpatched. Totally wrong. Still the business would have some accountability to apply some recent patches and etc. from a security standpoint, or to get better features from the application. So this cannot be totally eliminated. So the right answer is option C. Now a fun fact: how many AWS services are there as of 2020? So there are 175 products that AWS has. You can go to the wiki and look at the products. In this exam, we need to know a lot about a lot of products, not all the products, but certain key products. At least I would say 25 to 30 products is what you will have to know about at a high level. You don't have to go in the depth, you just have to touch it at the periphery level. So what is the lowest cost durable option for retaining database backups for immediate retrieval? So this is the key. If you want a database backup to be stored, but you don't want immediate retrieval, then Glacier is the option. But here it says for immediate retrieval, then in that case S3 is an option. Let's see what are the options in S3 Glacier. So S3 Glacier does have a expedited option where it takes within 1 to 5 minutes to retrieve the data. Then it has standard option where it takes 3 to 5 hours, and then it has bulk option where it takes 5 to 12 hours. So here if you see, your largest archive should be around 25 to 50 MB only, or slightly more than that, and data access will be available in 1 to 5 minutes, but it is not immediate. Okay, so in our case, our question is asking immediate. So the question says immediate retrieval. The immediate means immediate, not even 5 minutes delay. So if in that case, S3 looks to be the better option. EBS is not an option, because EBS is a store, elastic block store for EC2 instance, and EC2 instance store is also not an option, because instance store, the purpose of instance store is it is just like a memory of like your RAM in your CPU, in your laptop or your computer. So EC2 is also just like instance or a computer, and instance store is temporary. The moment EC2 is switched off or EC2 is removed or dropped, the instance store data is lost. So in this case, you would not want to store your database backups inside instance store. Okay, plus it has, I think, 1 terabyte of limitation. More than 1 TB you cannot put in instance to. Okay, and EBS is a costly option. It is saying low cost. EBS, you can store the data for backups, but it is a very costly option, and there is no use of spending that amount of money when you are moving your backups from your tapes. It is better to look for very cheap option. So in this case, since the requirement is immediate retrieval, hence option A, S3 is the right option. So which of the following is a fast and reliable NoSQL database service? NoSQL, whenever you think of NoSQL, think of DynamoDB. Okay, Redshift is SQL based, RDS is SQL based, S3 is an object store, it is not a database. So in this case, DynamoDB is the only option. It is a NoSQL based uh, uh, NoSQL based database. So what is an example of agility in AWS cloud? Agile means whenever you want more, you will get more. Whenever you don't want more, you will get less. So access to multiple instance types, no, it is not agile. You can get access to multiple instance types anyhow. Access to managed services, whether you can install the SQL Server or MySQL on EC2 instance, or you can use RDS, but that is not called agility. Using consolidated billing to produce one bill, it is also not agility, because you are trying to consolidate the billing. This helps you to reduce the cost. Now, decreased acquisition time for new computer resources, this is a perfect answer for agility, because what is happening is, if you want more resources in your on premises, suppose you are not on cloud, you are on premises, you want more resources, you have to go to certain set of teams to provision this. You will have to put a requisition request, procure the hardware, etc., move the hardware someday, and it takes months. But here, that acquisition time is decreased, hence this is the right option. So here, which service should a customer use to consolidate and centrally manage multiple AWS accounts? So when you talk about account management, organizations is the right choice always. Account management means about organizations, that is the service provision by AWS. IAM is for authentication and authorization. You can create roles, groups, and users. So this is not used for managing the AWS accounts. A schema conversion tool is SCT. It is used to migrate your data from on-premises to cloud. Configuration, AWS config, this is a service which has a very different purpose. If you have, suppose, EC2 instance installed and other services installed, it monitors the configuration. If you make changes, it can tell, it will keep logging it, and after 6 months, suppose you want to understand in the over the last 6 months what are the configuration changes that was made to the system, it will have that data. So it's a very different purpose. The right answer in this case is AWS organizations, option B. So let's do a quick search. AWS config, this is a service that enables you to access, audit, and evaluate the configuration of AWS resources, like I told you. Okay, AWS organizations, this is used to centrally manage and govern your environment as you grow and scale your AWS resources. So this is your right option. Now this question, what approach to transcoding a large number of individual video files adheres to AWS architecture principles? Uh, when you have a lot of video files, you want to transcode it. There are certain set of architecture principles laid down. I would recommend go to Google, do a search on AWS well architected. It will take you to this website. Now here, go through it. This is very good reading, especially for the AWS solution architect exam. This is very good. But there are 5 pillars, and there are some best practices recommended by AWS. So our question is based around this pillar. So it's saying there are certain sort of best practices pillars being said. To transcode the large number of video files, what will you do? So use many instances in parallel. This looks to be a very right option, because you will have multiple instances transcoding the video files in parallel, so that your jobs can be finished faster. So this looks to be a good option. Let's look at other 3 options. Using a single large instance during off-peak hours. Good choice, but not better than A, because what if you have a peak load demand and you don't want to wait for off-peak hours? You have to finish your job very fast. So this cannot be an option. Using dedicated hardware, you have a dedicated host option in AWS, but that is not going to solve your problem. Even if you have a dedicated hardware, you would need degree of parallelism to be set to complete this job, large number of tasks faster. And using a large GPU instance type, GPU instance is used for your machine learning language, AI, and etc. It's like using, if you want to go from New York to LA, and if you use your car, uh, Instead of car, if someone says use a rocket, instead of plane you use a rocket, uh, that is overkill. So that's why A is a better option in this case. This question says, for which auditing process does AWS have sole responsibility? So some of the auditing processes, customer also has a responsibility, but for which one AWS has a sole responsibility? So IAM policies, this is purely customer's responsibility. You create the IAM roles, users, policies, etc. Physical security, this is purely AWS responsibility because physical data centers you cannot access. So this looks to be the right option. Option C says Amazon S3 bucket policies. So bucket policies are usually created by the customers themselves. AWS doesn't do that. Cloud Trails, once you enable it, it will keep logging. So it is up to the customer what they want to log, and it keeps logging. So this is also not something which is AWS sole responsibility. So this is a AWS data center in Ohio. Now, the AWS manages this because you will not be allowed to get into this data center. So this is purely an AWS responsibility. So this is their data center. So if you see, this is their perimeter layer security. So AWS data center physical security begins at the perimeter layer. Okay, then they also provide infrastructure layer security. How they do it? Through HVAC systems, fire suppression equipments, components like backup power equipments, etc. And then they also have data layer level security. So data protection, how they do it? Protection begins by restricting access and maintaining a separation of privilege for each layer. Okay, hence this option is the right option. Now before I end this video, I have a suggestion. So in order to learn more about each and every service of AWS, do a Google and go to this Amazon website, or you can directly go to this website. So if you see, I'm on a Amazon S3 link. Here I can check the overview of like what S3 does, what are the benefits, etc. And we also have a diagram how S3 fits in. Now if I want to know about key features, I can go about the features and look at what S3 does. I can look at replication, how the replication works in S3, etc. I can read it. I can watch the video as well. If I want to understand the list of storage classes, like in one of the questions I explained, these are the set of storage classes. You can go through it. Okay, and then pricing. If you want to understand how the pay as you go work, what are the costs and etc., you can have a read at it. And one last thing, FAQs. FAQs are very important. Security is also important. Do have a read on security, how each layer is managed or how each service is secured. But FAQs will give you a lot of understanding of how this will be deployed in the real-time scenario. There are a lot of question answers. Go through it to gain some more insights, because this exam relatively is easier, but when you go to the Amazon Solution Architect Associate exam, that is tough. So you will need this kind of material content. So you can build it from day one itself. Okay friends, I will make some more video releases. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. For more videos, keep tuned in. Ciao.